you're still in the comments. I take it you didn't get the link still. If anybody's done things like this before to invite other people on live videos, please let us know. Adam, you're all too familiar with technical difficulties, huh? We gotta love it. I don't know why it's not showing up. Except for I have an idea. Guys, I need some tobacco on this one. Let me try my other Facebook account. See what happens. I had another phone busted out for this, just in case. So, we're gonna do this maybe one more time. Let's see first. Go to my main profile. We will get this. I promise we will get this. Yeah, I don't know. We were going to try this, guys, one more time and see what happens. Otherwise, we might have to postpone it until I can figure out what exactly is going on. If anybody has any ideas of how we're going to get this to link up to where we can have both people on the same live video, please let me know. Because, yeah, I kind of like to be able to do this, you know? So, send me a message. Let me know what we can do to... So, I'll be right back. I'm going to try one more thing. We're going to see what happens, okay? Or, actually, hold on. Yes, hey, there we go. Adding Richmond. By God, I think we got it.
Can you hear me okay?
Sounds like you're coming through my headset. Or not
All
my
right,
headset, but my phone. Let's see. Oh. All right, we're back again.
All right. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, it's not going to come through my headset. That's okay. I can hear you just fine. So, hey, what's up, Adam? How are we doing?
I'm doing all right. I can't see you, but that's totally okay. I just we all oriented and okay and everything.
I can see you on my other screen. You are sideways. There we go.
Now good?
Now you're good.
Okay.
All right. So, what's up, everybody? I'm Ozzy, St. Anger Productions. On the live video with me, we got Adam Richmond. Adam
How's
Richmond
it going, everyone?
the what? So yeah, we got Adam Richmond of Surviving Rocklahoma on the live video with me. Gonna interview him a little bit. Adam, how are we doing today?
Oh, we're doing all right, man. Rolling with the punches. You know how it goes. It's
Exactly.
busy time of the year, so always got a million pots in the fire.
Yes, and we can talk about some of those in a bit. So to get started, I already sent you the little interview questionnaire thing I've got. So at St. Anger Productions, I fully support our local music industry. And as I've said many times before, and I'll say it many times again, local is not dependent on where we are at. Local is local all across the country. There's local music scenes everywhere. Tahlequah, Ponca City, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Indiana, you name it. So what are some of your viewpoints for the local music industry?
What was that last part? I'm sorry.
What are some of your viewpoints for the local music industry?
My viewpoints?
Yeah,
Um,
like how do you feel it?
man, I just love it, man. We've got the most um, fertile grounds in terms of musical talent here in northeastern Oklahoma. There's always so much stuff going on, and since I started doing this podcast, I've met so many musicians that I got into podcasting because I really loved the old school 90s rock and roll DJs and stuff like that. And at some point, when I looked at that and said, you know what, I want to be that guy one day. And I met so many musicians that, they just got a song in their heart and they looked up there and they just have ambitions of being on a stage and performing, their music. And I just absolutely love cross promoting and working with all of these folks.
Oh, absolutely. That's kind of how I got my start with drumming, is just that ambition of wanting to be in front of people, sharing my talents. So I totally agree like that. Um, so, you mentioned starting your podcast. You started quite a long time ago. What are some of the key points that you've got to experience along your journey, like where you've been able to contribute to the local music industry?
I'm still getting used to acknowledging myself as being a part of the music industry. I've always I've always seen myself as kind of a roadie with a microphone. I just like being on the back end and organizing and networking and meeting all of these people. And um, I would say I gotta say one of my career defining moments was the day that I got approved for media credentials at Rocklahoma, and I was
Yeah.
running through the house like a young child on Christmas who just got that game platform they've been begging for. It's just, it happened. It happened. And
Yeah.
I've had a few other moments since then, but I've got to say
The highlight.
yeah, the I did it accomplishment.
We were all proud of you. All of your supporters, we were all proud of you when you announced that. Like, yes. Um, so yeah, I could say that would be a definite highlight. And we can get into the little bit more about that later. So, like,
Yeah.
what actually made you decide to go in the direction, this direction that you wanted to go? I know you touched base on it there first, but what are some of the key things that made you decide that you really wanted to do this, to, put in the time and effort and everything for
You know,
every
um,
Monday? And,
for people who play music, people who paint, people maybe Native Americans who, do basket weaving and beading, something super tedious that takes a lot of time. When you enjoy doing it, it doesn't seem like work. And for me, that was the case for a long time. I did it kind of as a hobby. It was my escape from my 9 to 5 job and my role as parent and husband and all of these other things. It was what I did on the side. And if I get bored or I had some free time and I wasn't able to play a video game, I'd check in on the chats and see what everybody's up to. And um, it I originally launched the page as kind of a companion to Rocklahoma because I fell in love with it that first year, and there was always so many people that had so many questions that if anyone who had been knew the answer to them. They knew how this X, Y, and Z worked, but there's always a lot of newbies out there and new people that has questions, or people who had been going for a long time and then took a break and just now coming back to it. And so that's what Surviving Rocklahoma started out as. That's why it has the name it has. And a few years later, Facebook Live came out, and we did a Q&A, and we had a huge response on that. And I was already podcasting at the time with a good friend of mine, and that podcast ran its course. And so I was left there with a bunch of podcast equipment, and I had something to talk about. I love doing live broadcasts. That it's like improv. It's an addiction to me. And so now I finally had the subject. I had the stuff to talk about. I had a thirsty community, and man, they just picked me up like Rudy and carried me into Rocklahoma.
Oh yeah. I remember my first year back in 2014. I was completely lost. It's like, what are we doing? What's going on? And I tell you what, I wish I had Surviving Oklahoma then. I've watched you grow over the years, and you've been amazing and helped so many people. You've got the campground map on your webpage. You got all these wonderful tools that will help, like you said, all these newbies. Like everybody that goes through Oklahoma, at one point we were all newbies, and so it's been a tremendous blessing. So here's an interesting one that I wanted to ask. What are some of the key moments you've had along your journey that's non-specific, not necessarily related to the music industry, but things that you've had along your journey that's been beneficial for you, that's helped you grow even more?
I gotta say, one of the I cannot stress how helpful and accepting the media community is. When I first got media, I showed up like a freshman on the first day of high school and not one of the schools, separated schools, one with the freshmen are in with the big dogs. And I was so overwhelmed, and I had so many come up and just offer me a seat next to them. I expected to be like a young Forrest Gump walking on the school bus. And I just had so many people that invited me to come over and talk shop, to compare notes, look at each other's rig and setup and things like that. So that made me so much of what I have accomplished, because there's, like they say, you fake it till you make it. And I went in that day with the mindset of I belong here. I've worked my ass off to get here. They've given me a chance, and if they messed up, well, they're going to see it wasn't a mess up. Those times that I felt like, man, I am so out of my league. What am I doing here? And I've always said, you don't get opportunities every day. So when they present themselves, you just step up to the plate and swing for the fences. And that's the way I try to approach every interview I give, every person I meet, every time a new media outlet comes up and wants to visit or whatever. You never know what the next person is going to need help with, or we help each other and pull resources so much. And it's been amazing. Now, that all said, I would say that was what I did on my own, but my credibility as a media platform and a media outlet has grown by leaps and bounds once I took on my photography by Angel Lee, aka Rebel. That girl has a charm about her, and let's not forget that giant camera lens that It just goes hand in hand with doing interviews, meeting people, and then I've also got a photographer. So the platforms, the outlets, the festivals, they take you 10 times more seriously whenever you have the proper tools and you're not just an amateur looking for a chance.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And yeah, she takes some amazing pictures. You are extremely blessed to have her by your side.
Yeah, yeah, I tell her all the time, and I'm so glad that we were able to find a working arrangement because photographers are expensive, folks, and it I mean, her average lens is like a couple grand. So I mean, she's walking around with super expensive equipment, and that really that don't pay for itself. So we are so blessed to have our sponsors and have opportunities that we've been able to milk and find ways to um, make things financially worth it for us on the back end. But
Oh
like
yeah,
she says, like mine, you know, she did it for so long because she loved it, and that's what stood out to me. It wasn't somebody there looking to build a career, start making money and be established right off the bat. It was somebody, hey, I got all this on my own. I'm here doing this stuff anyway, and I'm doing it because I love it. And that was the way I started out. And so it has just been an amazing partnership ever since.
yeah. I was gonna say it's like two passions joined together. It's a media marriage, if you would.
Yeah, yeah. And it's really funny the way you find how people work together to put these things on.
Yes.
Everybody has a skill set, and when you work together, you can accomplish some amazing things when you put pride and ego out of the way, and you're not being territorial about this is how I do this stuff. We look at ourselves like a band. I'm a singer, she's a guitarist or a drummer, and everybody has their instrument, everybody has their talents, and when you put it together, man, you can accomplish some amazing things.
Some beautiful music, some Beethoven.
Yeah.
Yes. So, um, I know having projects going on behind the scenes, there's not a lot you can talk about, but what are some of the projects you do have going on that you are able to talk about?
Well, as you know, Rocklahoma made their announcements, and we talk about that constantly.
Mhm.
Born and Raised also came out. We have been working with Justin Hoppy and the Rocklahoma Bitches, and AKA Rocklahoma, the Redneck Bitches, and we've been doing scavenger hunts for the last several years for Rocklahoma, and I feel I feel like I owe the community everything I've accomplished because without them listening and without their support, I would just be some guy talking to a wall in his office in his house. Um,
Mhm.
so I've found a way to give back, and that this is my thank you to the community. And every time I encounter an artist, anytime I interview someone, or we just might be able to flag somebody down to come and sign these guitars. And we just did a giveaway the first year, and Justin approached us with the scavenger hunt. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so perfect. They are going to have to work their ass off, and they're going to have to experience everything that these festivals are. That's perfect. And so ever since then, we've been giving them signed guitars for their efforts. And that's something I'm extremely proud of. And we're going to continue doing that. And this year, I would like to grow the campgrounds map and make it into a full-fledged survival guide that people can print out or have on their phone and not have to download or deal with the cellular limitations out at the festival. They can show up and they're going to have a directory of all the parties, a smaller version of the map, just like you pull out a fold out map and a magazine. And then they've got that. And then on the back end, we'll also have, thank you to our sponsors and the camps that like to be a part of this. Now, one thing to note, that map is been going on for years. It's older than, my influence. Brian Beck did it before me, and it was originated. I'm drawing a blank on the guy. I know him. I met him several times. He's a wonderful guy who actually first started it. But having that there, that would not be what it is without the community saying, hey, that's fun. I want to be a part of it. I want to decorate my stuff too. And all of this, the best campsite contests, my involvement with the map, all came from a couple of conversations I had with my camp co-host, Christy Gross of Camp Mardi Gras, because we wanted to decorate our campsite. And we said, you know what, we're going to come up with a theme. So we went with Mardi Gras because we're both extra and gaudy as hell. And then someone said, you know what, I'm going to do one. You know what, I'm going to do one. And next thing you know, there are tens to 20, hundreds, and now there's thousands of campsites that just do the most off-the-wall, nonsensical stuff, and they love it, and they have such a blast. So, when you go into those campgrounds, you can literally pick your poison. You can have something super chill well, we can't have fires out there, but around a speaker and everybody's singing. There's sober sites, there's non-sober sites, there's places where maybe you don't drink, but you partake of medicated, licensed herbal supplements. That's your thing too. Maybe you have a thing for strip clubs and wild, debaucherous parties. There's a busload of fun over in between the two campgrounds. There's just so much stuff going on, and I'm just so proud to be a part of that.
Oh, yes. It's amazing seeing all those decorations, seeing those 10-foot skeletons, and right along the main road, you got, right past the big old bus, you got a little bar set up where people can go in and just chill at the little bar and hang, conversate, and there's all kinds of stuff. And yeah, that little fold-out map that you're talking about, that sounds like a wonderful idea. I like that.
We are also super excited that I've never done a concert before. I've always wanted to do a concert. I got a first taste of having my own concert with just over a year ago when the community came together in a way. I'm going to try to get through this without breaking up, but I'm just somebody, I've never had an event or party in my honor. I've not really ever had birthday parties, never really. I'm a humble person. I don't need a lot of attention towards me. And when I lost my hearing a couple of years ago and got my implants last year, the community threw a benefit for me. Huge thanks to India Grease and to India and Tyler and everybody who was a big piece part of it and put it all together. And I just knew that, I've got the support. We could do some pretty big things. And but with that same thing, when community shows you that much love and encouragement to continue going without, not letting anything stop you, it feels really selfish to give up. And so I love doing this stuff. I wanted to keep doing it, and I know that I've got people that would follow me all the way. So this year is 10 years for Surviving Rocklahoma. So we are going to celebrate Memorial Day weekend, and we are going to have our first event, and it's going to be a 10-year celebration of the Surviving Rocklahoma podcast and everything that we've done. We've got our bands picked out. We just got to get the final confirmations on them, then we'll put out our lineup. But we've got several bands that's played Rocklahoma. We've got a couple of Rocklahoma alums. We have one from Rocklahoma this year, and I've got some friends that are coming in from out of state that I've met in media, and I'm just so excited to have a lineup that's going to be a celebration of everything we've done with this podcast.
I can't wait to see that lineup. It sounds like it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I am truly excited, and this one is also this one's we're going to do what we can to support the local music. We're going to make sure all of the bands have merch tables. We're going to be passing around a tip jar that will go towards the bands that are playing the night, because anyone who has put together a show knows that how little these people play for. And I feel like this is a way that the community can put our money where our mouth money where our mouth is, and we can, actually support these people and put, a couple of miles in the tank that they drove to get there to see us.
I like that idea.
We're also going to be we're partnered with Rockavet, who anyone who has followed the page knows that I'm a proud supporter of Rockavet, because there's just so much of the mental war that doesn't stop once they get back. And I know how much music has meant for me and how it has always been there for me in the dark times. So knowing that our warriors have gone over there and they're able to find solace in those tunes of whatever genre, I'm so excited to partner with them and continue to give the music that is medicine to our veterans.
Yes. Yeah, Jason and Christian over there are some amazing people. They do an amazing job. I'm working on scheduling Christian for an interview too. So we can talk a lot more into detail about them with them. Yeah, I do fully support our veterans. The 22 a day program, 22 a day is 22 too many. So, like you said, it's an ongoing battle. I've never been overseas. I've never served in our military, but the depression is real. PTSD is real. It's all real. And music's helped me. It helps a lot of us. And so, yes, be able to give back to our community, putting on those concerts, they're no easy task. You're seeing that. I've seen that. But like you said, the love and support that our community shows us, it is selfish to kind of just give up on it. So, we had no choice but to keep going, for not only for our own self, but for everybody else, and to keep that music coming one way or another.
I agree completely. And you mentioned a lot. You mentioned PTSD, and PTSD is something that I misunderstood my whole life. I thought that was just what people who get that or develop this is from what you see on TV. Traumatic experience, trauma, just whatever, extreme. And I I would never say I was blessed to be depressed, but before my ears messed up, I noticed a shift in my emotional state. I noticed um, a numbness that I could never shake or get over, and so I knew something was wrong. So I went and I got, counseling, and it was the best thing I ever did. I was able to get things addressed. I knew what was normal, what was not. I got on medication, which it works for me, and that helped a lot. I was also seeing added physical benefits from treating the mental issues I was dealing with. I was now starting to get physically healthier as well. And yeah, I'll be honest, when I got my medical card, that, for me, cannabis has been essential in maintaining the mood and the emotional patience that I no longer have the capacity for with my normal brain chemistry without the aid of medications. And all of that came into play a year or two later when medically I was forced to tap and retire. I was told that I'm not getting any better. I won't get any better. That I probably won't be able to work for much longer. So I had to go through the disability fight and do all of that stuff. And fortunately, that was squared away when the last of my hearing went away. So it's been a rough 4 years. However, fortunately, I took my mental health seriously so that I had the tools in place that had me in the right mindset to deal with the multiple crises that I dealt with in the last 4 years. And I think had I not done that, I don't know if I would have been able to pull through, to be honest with you, because that the 6 to 8 months I spent in silence was extremely soul crushing. So having the support and knowing it doesn't matter who you are, everybody's got something that they're dealing with, some crisis that it may not seem that big to somebody else, but you never know what somebody's going through and how close somebody could be to the edge. And that's, I think, for a lot of our veterans, that's where the music comes from. Because, I would be in the deepest throes of depression, in the silence that was driving me insane. And then, I'd find myself singing Sound of Silence. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
there's always a song that can put what you're feeling into words. And that is the best therapy that I can think of.
Citizen Soldier, one of the artists coming this year to Rocklahoma, they've helped me out a lot this past year. That some of their songs is just soul touching. I've laid my head in my pillows and just bawled to some of their music on repeat because yeah, it's powerful. You know, and battle that you've talked about with disability. I've fought that battle just recently myself, and it's mentally and emotionally exhausting. It's you know the words of songs, scars from Papa Roach. Back January, I just had my second neck surgery. I still got the scar right there. Every time I look in the mirror, there's those scars. I got them on my neck. I got them on my shoulders.
Yeah.
But yet again, it's the music that makes you realize we're not alone in our battles. There's always somebody else that shares some of the same experiences.
Well, and I did learn something um, in my fight against, to prove my case in, with Social Security and disability and stuff. And the thing is, a lot of people, what you don't understand is, I don't want to say people who have physical pain have it any easier, because obviously they don't, but that you can see when somebody is hurting. Now, people with disabilities that don't deal with the physical, that it's all either mental or, internal. Um, Folks like that, like, I can only speak for myself, you feel like a hypochondriac so much because you're constantly having to plead your case. You're constantly having to explain why you may look like you're fine, but on your perspective, your every one of your senses is short circuiting. And then you got to go to a million doctors. You got to keep all of your paperwork and all of that stuff. And it is highly stressful. It is, I got I think a big part of my PTSD came from that, because I was in a heightened level of stress consistently for 2 years, 3 years between um, accepting that I'm not working anymore and I've retired from my career that I built, and also dealing with this. And then, personal life, that was the time frame that I lost my sister to breast cancer. And then also dealing with, as I've said, the hearing loss. So it was just a lot. And music and doing this podcast and having something that I could put, escape reality and find something positive and escape into this positive project with positive feedback and positive people. It was basic. I think it was my saving grace for a long time.
I can definitely see that. So, I guess the next question, I'm sure I could already assume, but you know what they say about assumption. Um, what is your favorite project that you've ever done?
Ooh, favorite project. I would have to say, and just in a blanket, surviving Rocklahoma. But the thing is, I've lived a lot of lives. I've done this podcast game. I've been an IT professional for years. I used to be a butcher. I worked at a skate rink. I worked in the indie pro wrestling company for a while. I mean, I've done a lot of things, and there's a lot of things that were my favorite at the for a lot of different reasons. But I would say this surviving Rocklahoma has got to be next to my family, my wife, and my kids. This has got to be something that I'm the most proud of because I feel like I've left my mark on the world, and I can pull up my analytics anytime and see how many people I've reached, and geographically I've reached the opposite side of the globe, and I've interviewed the Who twice. So I've interviewed Mongolians. I've interviewed people from New Zealand with alien weaponry, and good friends with Snakebite whiskey. And I also get to meet the up and comers before they find the fame. And I was already fanboying out for a bit, and then we end up getting ranged out with this guy, and I end up talking to Jelly Roll for a bit, and then a year or two later, man, he's just exploding, and it's just, man, it's a nonstop ride, but you never know what it's going to look like until you get there. And that's where a lot of the fun is, because you never know what experience you're going to have.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So, what would be one project that you would absolutely love to do, even if it's way out of your league?
Um, Honestly, that'd be a tough one. I would like to. I love MCing. I love hosting. I would love to be on a big stage, or be on the radio. I did all of this because, you know, I said, you know what, I want to be on the radio, and no one's going to hire me. But I've got the tools. I've got a long career where I've acquired a certain set of skills. I will find you, and I will rock you. And so, you know what? I would like to be on the radio.
There you go. So you're on like the old Phil and Britt in the morning type radio program, something like that,
You know,
or
yeah, I think that would be fun. That I've done that style of a format before. I love live. I love improv, but I also like being a man, somebody who's just breaking out the dad jokes and funny anecdotes and rocking you through your work day or your drive home. I mean, any of it would be fun. I would, that would be a blast. And the cool thing is, post COVID, just about anybody can work from home. So I've got a studio built in my house that could power an internet radio station. So I think it's doable.
yes, definitely. And look at people like Howard Stern, and how he started from just a little guy to what he is today, an internet sensation.
I would say my long-term goal, and Angel and I, we proved it to ourselves when we went to Key West, the for Rock Island, and I
Mhm.
want to thank Dave and Sharon Ginky of our amazing owners of Rocklahoma for giving me that invite a couple of years ago to go cover their festival, Rock Island in Key West. A couple of weeks later, they do it just like they do Rocklahoma, and then they do Mile Zero with a country festival, just like we do Born and Raised. And they share a lot of the same tools. And I've always said, you know what, I'd love to travel to do this. So if I can't be on the radio, if I could find a way that this could be self-sufficient and I could get me an endorsement or something to get me like a RV or something so I could travel from festival to festival, I think that would be perfect. I think that's what I would love.
Oh, maybe end up out there at what is it, Lollapalooza, one of those big festivals out on the
Hell yeah.
West Coast.
Well,
I
and
think that would be huge.
when we went to Daytona last year, we experienced the festival crowd, and they're different, but they're very much alike to our Rocklahoma crowd. They don't give a f. They're there to have fun. They're there to party, but it's a little different. And so was Key West, which Key West, while still in Florida, it's a different culture. And I'm a very culturally centered type of person. I love to meet the culture, see what the area is about, what the subculture is about. So traveling to these different festivals, that would be an amazing experience just to see how different every single one of them is.
Oh, absolutely. I got my bus. Let's go.
Maybe one day I can get a Shannon or one of them to convert me a little mini broadcast bus. A couple of bunks in the back. I'll get it done.
That'd be amazing. Hey, where are you? Where are you? Nope, still not in the comments. Never mind. maybe sometime later we can work on that. So I've looked through. I don't see any comments from, I mean, I see the Rock Grinch on there. What's up, Grinchy? Um, I don't see any actual questions. Was there anybody that has like submitted any questions for you that they'd like you to discuss?
No, not really. I know we had some technical issues at the beginning, and that can usually get people a little lost. I do see one of the ladies that I used to fix her cell phones here in town. So that was another life I used to do when I used to fix electronic and mobile devices. So it's good to see folks in my own neighborhood seeing the other side of me. The it's it can be culture shocking. It can be hard to be. I'm a shy guy. If I don't know you, if I've never met you, I am terrible at breaking the ice. I'm kind of like Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. You walk up and say, "Hey guys, big gulp." All right, bye. And I'm very, very painfully awkward. So doing this show, it allows me to kind of get out what I've got to say without having to deal with the social learning process, which that has always eluded me. Now, that being said, it can be a big contrast going from anonymity to small town celebrity. So that's always fun because you're out there doing, you don't think anything about, next thing you get recognized by a handful of people, and so you're yeah. It's an ego
Yeah,
boost.
it's like being Rocklahoma's hot dog and going without the dog for a day and like you're the hot dog.
Yeah, yeah,
Me.
it's nuts.
So yeah. So open topic. I'll let you pick any one important thing. I know we talked about the mental health a little bit ago. That wasn't on the list, but if there's
Mhm.
anything else that you feel that's like important that you need to discuss, that because this is going to go back on Facebook later. Facebook policies are changing to where live videos are deleted after 30 days. So I'll download it, re-upload it, so it's going to be there, and it's also going to go on my YouTube channel as well.
Oh,
So
I love it.
you know,
I'm
anybody
looking
in the
up my
future that's
notes here. Go
listening,
ahead. Sorry.
Anybody that's in the future listening, what would you have to say to them that you feel that's important that they need to hear?
I think we hit on a lot of the things that I usually don't get to go in depth in on my show, and I usually try to keep to a standard format because that's what people tune in, that's what they expect, that's what they watch for. Um, Mental health is something that I am extremely passionate about, and I I'm also someone who I don't we were we never grew up talking about what hurts, what bothers us. So I don't really talk about my hearing loss a lot, other than keeping it relevant. So for those folks who hear me talk about it, it is it's a disease called Meniere's disease, and it causes symptoms of extreme vertigo and dizziness and um, a lot of auditory issues such as tinnitus, the ringing in your ears, fullness, basically everything you get when you have a bad ear infection. Um, and that's what took my hearing several years ago. And since then, I got my cochlear implants, which also in um, some circles, cochlear implants can be a controversial subject among the deaf community. And I just want to thank all of the individuals who live with hearing loss, and whether you're hard of hearing, whether you're deaf or child of deaf adults and things of that nature, who have reached out to me and told me not to let this stop me, because even for those people who can't like hear the music, I learned a an appreciation and an understanding of vibrations in my times of silence that I had to spend. And I've also found ways where I can bridge the gap between the hearing impaired and our live music events and things of that nature. I was fortunate enough to take a couple of deaf individuals under a higher built stage recently and put them underneath the drum riser and let them feel the drummer. And they've said they've never felt anything like that. And for a deaf person, that's almost like a blind person reading Braille. And so in music, the lead singers now became our drummers, and the drummers are our lead singers. And the guitarists, I mean, that's just, the screams and all of that. So um, all of that to say, when we went to Daytona, I met some amazing interpreters for Welcome to Rockville. It was my first festival where they had ASL performers, and I met all of the interpreters. I've met a lot of the hearing impaired community, and I'm doing everything I can to advocate for that community, because I believe that in life, no matter what you go through for a reason. It's because even though you feel like you can't handle it, you're going through it because you can. And it's your job as a survivor of whatever it is you're going through to help others who are struggling, because not everyone can find their way through the darkness. And it's having those communities reach out to me and show me how I've been able to influence them that keeps me going and wants me to advocate for them.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. That's something I've talked about for a while now too, being, going through my own experiences. We've got, even in our darkest moments, we can still let our little light shine so others can see through their way too. We've been through our issues for reasons. I had one last year I was talking to, and, they straight up told me, you've made me realize I'm not alone in this battle. And so some of the work you're doing, advocating for the deaf community. You and I, we both advocate for mental health. You guys aren't alone out there. You got great people. When people like Adam or myself, we sit there and say, hey, I understand what you're going through. Reach out and talk to me. That's what we mean. Reach out and talk to us. You're not alone. We have our little light that we're letting shine so that you can see too.
Absolutely. And, you know, I saw it was more of a meme based around grief, but I believe it goes around anything in adversity at all. And it's your problems never stop and they never go away, even though they feel like they're consuming you. You grow to encompass those problems and you grow to carry them with you and on. So adversity, um, it drives growth, and if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah,
So just try. I That's what I always tell everybody, and you just whatever it is you're doing, just don't stop. It's when you stop that things can slide backwards. So you just got to
absolutely.
always be going forward. Stay on the positive side. It can always get worse, but don't ever question how much worse it can get.
That is no joke. Man, can this get any? Don't even ask.
Yeah, if you ask, somebody will answer. But and then again, like on a lighter note, um, whenever I started doing this, and one thing I've learned throughout doing the podcast is being comfortable with rejection, being comfortable with being told no. Um,
Yes.
One thing I don't tell, I've never really shown Angel or anybody else I've worked with is how many times I'm told no and they're not interested. And if you go to every door knowing that there's a possibility or likelihood that they're not, interested, that's fine. So eventually, that door is going to open, and that's when you have your chance to make the best of it. And I'm telling you, folks, never ever let rejection stop you, because rejection is one thing in life that it's always going to be there, and it's always going to be around every corner. So just focus on the doors that aren't locked rather than the doors that are.
Oh yeah. For the music industry, every stage that you play on, every album that you record, whether you're the band recording or you're the technician that's doing the recording, there's going to, everywhere you go, there's going to be those doors that's going to stay locked and closed, but eventually that one door is going to open. And, just like 10 years ago for you, this door opened and you didn't just crack it open, you kicked it open and took off running with it. And this thing's blown up. 10 years later, you're putting on your own concert and just, you're doing some amazing things, good person. Um, So I think the music community is, I speak for myself on this one, but I think I can speak for basically everybody else. That you've been a huge, huge blessing for so many people in this area, Oklahoma, parts of Missouri and Arkansas and, up into Kansas a little bit. You've been a huge blessing to so many people in this area within the industry. You play um, songs on your podcast from some of these local artists from all over to help support their music. And you're always looking for these people to come in. No more locked doors, Jason. um, that one caught me off guard. Thank you, Jason. We gotta love that guy. We really do. But yes, it's Adam. Everything you've done with the community. That you're the there's a reason I wanted you to be my first interview to get this thing going. You know, you've done this for a long time now. You've interviewed like you said, you've interviewed the Who twice, and I don't know how many other artists at Rocklahoma that's played that main stage that you've been able to interview. And I think, being able to, chat with somebody of your caliber for my first time is really helping me out too, to be able to reach out and talk to these other ones, and connect our industry, like I've been saying lately, from, coast to coast, border to border, bring the local industry together and work together as one. And so being able to speak with you, like right off the bat, um, uh, is helping me become a little bit more comfortable with this. We help troubleshoot some problems. You've been many times over the last 10 years, technical difficulty after technical difficulty, which is another thing you don't say. That's going to be easy show. This is going to be easy. You never say that E word. Because that one will come back and bite you too. But, getting those technical difficulties out of the way with you right off the bat, that's helped a little bit. So, it's a little bit of a learning curve to see, apparently maybe I can't, connect page to page, page to person. Sure, so something I have to look at moving forward, even like as of tonight, when I get to interview Lori Brass of, there she is, just commented, Rock the Equinox. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to be talking with her on her personal page instead of the Rock the Equinox page, learning things like this. You're a blessing, Adam, for so many people, whether you see it or not.
I appreciate that, man. It really it means a lot, and I'm just somebody who's I've 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 never understood ego or um, having I don't know. It's the way I believe I was raised. I think is just never take anything for granted and realize everything's a blessing. And like you mentioned with the technical difficulties, man, that's part of it. And unfortunately, like rock and roll stars and all these musicians, they get to sit there and pluck away and mess up frets and every chords and all of this stuff. It takes them hundreds of hours of practice on an instrument of resisting the urge to throw it against the wall. And in broadcasting, especially self, and this, that brings something, a that's the thing about being self-made. If it was easy, everybody would do it. And
Mhm.
being a one man show, you have to learn how to do everything. But you're learning your craft. That's what somebody had told me, and they those things are meant to be there so you know how to fix them the next time, and you're only going to get better. But as I can tell you, after 10 years, I still get them. They never go away. So, you know what? Make nice with the gremlins and just make it part of the show. That's what live is all about, improv. You're going to have hecklers, you're going to have haters, you're going to have technical issues. Your life will throw you a curveball. Murphy's Law follows all of us, and it's just
Yes.
about rolling with the punches and making it part of the show.
I mean, yes, I completely agree with that. Back in October 24, I got to run, I was the audio tech for the first ever Rocklahoma. Um, and yeah, I end up blowing an amplifier. The capacitor literally went up in smoke. I have a rack with 4 amplifiers and 2 EQ, and we're trying to sound check this band, and all of a sudden it just goes up, like the whole rack is full of smoke. And I sit underneath that stage, and I just almost started crying right there. Thinking, this is it, this is over. The next day, we're got this guy from Bad Frogs Rising, who played at my show last month. We sat there, tore the rack apart, looked at the amplifiers, one at a time, and found the problem. And then ended up finding another problem with another amplifier. So that was 2 out of 4 down. We stripped that stage and we rewired everything. We made it work. We didn't quit. I didn't quit. Just kept going. So, you know, Murphy's Law threw that big curveball, but we were able to keep things going.
Um, I love comedy, like comedians, comedy shows, and one of the first rules of improv, which improv basically is performing live. Um, you're never allowed to say no. That's rule number one. It's always, and then what? And that's, I mean, that's a good rule of life because no's will get you nowhere. Whereas if something unexpected happens, you just kind of got to deal with it and roll on. And that's one of the great things about the community that we have is we're just, I mean, mostly we're a bunch of hobbyists. If we're lucky, we get to do it professionally, and everybody has learned the same lessons. And I was visiting with one of the DJs that I had listened to for years and years. It was when I think of professional, that's one of the names I think of, and that's Jay Ramone from the Cat. And he has been so generous with his time and letting me know that I'm doing well or whatever. And I had always had in my mind this picture of what these people that I emulate, these professional DJs that work for radio stations, that they've been around forever, Howard Stern and Phil and Brent or Big Mad Morning Show or any of those. I've had this, okay, once you made it, you made it. And it's not the case. They're all entrepreneurs, they're all independents, they're all just trying to find a way to pay the bills because there's not really money in it unless you're of that upper tier. And for me, that shattered my perception, but it was amazing because then I realized how far I'd really come, and I was too busy trying to emulate these people that I from time to time would be self-conscious about what I've got. And I've heard it a lot lately, and it's true. Um, Comparison is the theft of happiness
Yes.
because if I'm over there looking over there, I'm not satisfied with what I'm doing. And the truth be told, we're all just doing the same thing, just some of us do it more gracefully than others. And sometimes you get nice contracts and branded. So um, after visiting with him and some of the other DJs, I have just never really second guessed myself as much. And I'm just realized, man, we're just all doing the same thing. And so might as well pull resources, scratch each other's back. If my mixer goes down or one of the guys' microphone fails, most of us, if you've dealt with Murphy's Law enough, you have a bunch of odds and ends ready for anything. And so,
Yes.
hey, I got you, bud. I got your thing. And so I'll let you borrow it. Just give me a plug on your show. And then, all right, that's cool. And reciprocity and um, helping each other as much as they helped you, but do it a little much better every time and pay it forward, you will be amazed at how much easier things go for you because you're not competing with people and you're just actually working as a community and
Yes.
helping each other grow because they can help you grow as well.
Oh, absolutely. You talk about, we can't compare and whatnot. Like, you know, booking concerts. You and I, we both know one that if I was to sit there and start comparing myself to Doug Burgess, there is no way in the world I could ever compete with him. He's booked shows, not only the Roadhouse stage at Rocklahoma, but I've seen him book big shows at the BOK Center. And, here I am, just this little person trying to fill a 300 capacity venue. But you know what? I can't lose. I can't do that. Just like, can't compare yourself to Howard Stern. You've got your own thing that, you're doing. You're moving forward in your own direction. I've got my own thing moving forward in my own direction. And in the small time music industry, whether it's Perseus, or um, Dime Store Riot or Infall, can't sit there and look and be like, I am in no way Metallica or Taylor Swift. We've got to be ourselves.
Yeah.
You've got to be Adam Richman. You got to be who you are and work to be the best you that you can be.
Yeah, I completely agree. And, to build on what you had mentioned there, the thing is, there's no big time, there's no small time. There's only big steps and small steps. And the
Mhm.
only way to get anywhere you want to be is to take the step.
Yes, you got to take that first step and then just keep stepping.
Yeah, and it is very much two steps forward, three steps back. You're going to do things over and over again, and it's once again, like I said, if you stop, that's it. I mean, you can take a break, you can sit down and lick your wounds and get over something and reevaluate, take your lesson in life and make sure it's what you want, and then get moving and again. And if you get lost in the sea of small steps, you'll never realize that it was just really one big step, that anything you want to do that is fulfilling for you, it's just going to be hard. It's just there's nothing easy in life except pissing in the shower.
Yeah. And so, when it comes to, repetition, one thing that, I've found that is important to keep in the back of your mind, it's okay to make a mistake as long as you utilize that mistake as a learning tool and you don't keep repeating it. Because once you repeat that mistake, it starts becoming habit, and that's doing nothing but taking those steps backwards. Just take the steps forward and learn from the mistakes. Embrace them.
Yeah.
Yes, I did that. Now it's time to move on and don't do that again.
Well, and on that note, I'd like to remind folks that there's no such thing as mistakes there. There's only lessons, and the great thing about being small time is our mistakes are small. I mean, they feel big to us. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I tell anybody the first time they stream, the first time they play on stage, the first time they do anything. Remember, when you first start out, it's just you talking to yourself. And so, what's the, I mean, if you have a technical issue, if you have a verbal diarrhea and let something slip, it's not like 1,000 people's watching anyway. And
Right.
it's by making those mistakes that you get better. And so that you're prepared when you have that room full of an audience and you're just nailing every chord on muscle memory, or you're going into your speech or routine and everything becomes fluid. All of that comes from falling down and messing up, and all of those times that, oh, I will never do that again, or I will never work with so and so again. You learn that so that you don't have to deal with it when it's a big deal.
Yes. And when we see others fall down, like you was talking about earlier, sharing a microphone or something. When we see others fall down, be that family member, be that friend, and offer your hand, help pick them back up, dust off their back, and encourage them. Hey, you had that, but don't let it discourage you. Keep going, keep going. You can do this.
Right. Well, rule number one of a mosh pit: you see someone fall down, you pick them back up.
Absolutely.
You know,
So
we've talked about my hearing loss, and we've talked a lot about staying geared and centered and on our tasks and stuff. But I also just want to I want to mention this. I've traveled to festivals in other states. I can say I've traveled the country now. This what happens in our community in terms of how much that we collaborate, we work together, and we understand that it takes a village to raise a festival, a band, a child. I don't think people understand how rare it is to find so many people that have that entrepreneurial spirit. And you know what? I ain't got the money, but I can trade you this. We barter this. You do this for me, we'll do that for you. And it launches so many projects and so many people that are just chasing their dreams while they're trying to get through their day to day. And
Yeah,
it's magical. And I think that is the gas in my gas tank, to be honest with you.
I love it. So coming up tonight, 6 p.m., we have Lori Brass of Rock the Equinox. I've seen her in the comments. You know, I'm sure she will agree with a lot of what you've been saying in the last few minutes. If you had one piece of advice to give to her, you know, she's been going for the last 10 years herself, you know, celebrating 10 years this year, of having this wonderful little festival. You know, got to listen to you talk about it Monday night when you interviewed her. If there's one thing that you could say to her that you didn't get to say Monday night that you could say to her for tonight, what would that be?
You know, there's few people in the world that see. I've always got insights or something to say, and lessons I've learned to share. Lori has done such an exemplary job with what she has accomplished in Stigler that I I think any notes or any advice I gave her would be a disservice, because she could teach, I think, so many people. And I've been a part of music festivals that, started in an idea, and it came around and came and went, and they learned a lot, and they faced a lot of challenges, and they were just, trying to stay afloat and make money. Lori's done this for a free festival. I mean, they don't make money from this. And they have the town that supports them. They have sponsors that support them. They have all of us people that we like to work hard and play even harder, and we go to her grounds, and she puts up with all of us, and we all have strong personalities that they also find a beautiful way to work, but she also stays true to those who have supported her in the long run and helped. And she's a hero of mine to see what she is able to pull off and keep her heart in the wrong place, because it is so easy to enter into partnerships or even just work with people that they don't always have your back. There's a lot of people who's always got an angle, and Lori's just always been able to pull off these amazing things with such grace. And the things that she has happening this year for her 10th year I'm just so proud of her. I can't wait for everybody to just show up and look around and see what Rock the Equinox has become in Stigler. And we're bringing our flotation devices down there. We're going to be kayaking. I mean, it's an amazing time. And I have long considered Rock the Equinox our Rocklahoma family reunion. We bring our families out. We just hang out, and it's priced right. You just can't say no.
Right. And to it, listening to you talk about that Monday, and you mentioned kayak. You got me wanting a kayak now.
I love them, man. It's the best investment I made. It was how I celebrated my midlife crisis when I retired. I said, screw it, I'm buying a kayak. I'm going to go jump on the river. At least it's free, and I can sit up there and drink all day.
Right. Hey, I do see Steve Murdoch's in the comments. He's talking about practice. That's how I did the proving grounds. Yes. That, man, I remember some of that.
Let me tell you.
We love you, Lori. Yeah, the proving grounds, we've had all those great campground parties at Rocklahoma in the past. Camp Jaeger, the Dark Side, you know, a lot of them's come and gone. But I tell you what, watching Lori, she's came and she's going. She won't be gone. You know, she's kicking ass and taking names, and the city of Stigler is seeing this. They're seeing the support that we give her year after year as this thing grows. 87 bands, you know, put in their applications to play this year. It's this thing's getting huge, and you know, we're going to be talking about some of that tonight. You know what the city is actually doing to help put this on. That's right, Lori. No quitting you. I like that attitude. So yeah, the city of Stigler's seeing this, and they see the money coming in every year. You know, just like prior. You know, there's going to be those residents who don't like Rocklahoma, like, oh, they're invading on our Walmart. You know, but they love the tax dollars that come in to help support the local community. And so, you know, that's one thing that a lot of people don't realize about us is that when we gather like this, we're not only gathering for ourselves, we're gathering in a place that, you know, small town Stigler or small town Tonkawa right here where I'm at, we thrive on this outside, you know, money coming in. You know, what's one of the first things we do either before we, you know, when we get there or before we leave? You know, we stop by the gas station, we fill up with gas, especially like, you know, you're driving all the way back up to Tahlequah, me to Tonkawa. We've got to have gas, so we stop by, you know, the Stigler gas station. You know, we're
Dollar
out there, we
General,
want breakfast, so we
Walmart,
drive in.
and fast food joints. They're all going to benefit from us coming to town.
Absolutely. And then, you know, any like local cannabis shops, you know, we got to watch what we say on Facebook and stuff. But yeah, you know, cannabis shops, they thrive too. You know, how many people go out there to, you know, you and I, we're both kind of scatterbrained sometimes, leave the house, we get there, get things set up, and all of a sudden it's like,
I'm
uh-oh.
told that comes from smoking cannabis, but I forgot who said that. Um,
Somebody.
you know, I do want to, since you've graciously had me on, I do want to thank my sponsors. Speaking of Prior Liquor, Wines and Spirits, the local liquor store in Prior, has been an I mean, I can't even think of a word right now um, to encompass their contributions to the the community. We thank them a lot, but I don't think people really understand the impact that they, as a business, have been having on everything that this community does, from simple campsites like the Big Old Bus and Camp Mardi Gras and Discombobulated and some of the other campsites that they sponsor. They also provided the trophies for the best campsite contest. But they also support, you know, Rockavet with their benefit. They're going to be a sponsor of our concert for our 10th anniversary celebration. Um, but Monty and crew, they are just amazing, amazing people. And yes, they have a great business. If they don't have what you are looking for, they can get it. But when they go out that far to support our good time, those are the sponsors I love and I believe the most in, because I have someone I know that is putting good out there, and all I got to do is tell people where to go. You guys go support them. And that's where it's a great investment on local businesses that have products that they can barter or that they can contribute in a way that supports the local community, because the community is going to remember you for it, and then they're going to come back and support your business. But as I've told a few venues, as I've told a few people that's worked with our community in the recent years, take care of our community and we will take care of you. But if you don't take care of us, we'll go somewhere else. And
We
it's
will.
just that
I mean,
simple.
that's back to life, yes. So, and you know what? I agree with Jason. Jason told us, let's go kayaking.
Deal. Avoid the brownies. No, don't avoid them. Proceed with caution. Proceed with caution. I learned my limit.
Oh, yeah. Well, he said cake, so he might have me on that one. Is it chocolate cake, Jason?
Ooh, the first bite was great. The second was, we'll just say it was an adventure.
Outer space, here we come. And speaking of prior liquor, it is different not seeing you crack open that cold one like you do on your show. So what is your? Well, Lori says she avoids the brownies at all costs. So as we try and wrap this up a little bit, it's been holy crap. This is going on for a while now. I like this. Tell us a little bit about your show, like how we can find you, when we can find you.
Sure.
Promote the show a little bit.
Surviving Rocklahoma is my podcast that I launched 10 years now. We're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. You can celebrate with us at the Shrine Memorial Day weekend, May 24th. This Monday, I will be announcing the bands that we will be playing. Our ticket sales will be going on soon. And we just hope to see everybody out celebrating the Rocklahoma community, which is what our podcast launched to cover, is our love of the community. And we've since expanded to support all things local music community, not only just heavy metal and rock and roll, but we are diversifying as soon as we can get the demand and the participation. We're going to go have a country addition to our broadcast offerings, as we have also been covering Born and Raised. You can catch us every Monday night on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. And it is just, think of Wayne's World meets MTV News. We just have a great time. We laugh. We have a beer. We jam out to some music. We visit with some of our local organizers, and at Rocklahoma, we get to bring you some exclusive interviews and behind the scenes footage and a perspective that nobody else gets to have. So we hope to have you guys in our live streams Monday nights at 9 p.m., or you can catch it in post at any of those social media networks.
Awesome. Sounds amazing. I hope doing this, I can start getting you more followers. The ones that's really never heard of it or never really had a chance to see who you are, or hear your story of who you are. And that is the goal of this, is to bring followers together, because there's people that you have that Lori doesn't have. There's people that Lori has that Brandon Young, I got him coming up Saturday evening. And by the time, it's all said and done, I got people from here, there, and everywhere that's been interviewed, and, the videos uploaded back to Facebook and YouTube, maybe eventually some other platforms. But, people coming in, watching a year from now, watching, this interview right here, like, oh, hey, Surviving Rocklahoma, what is this? Let me go check this out. And just bring people together, next year for Lori and Rock the Equinox, maybe somebody can watch, our little interview, be like, hey, this seems like a really cool festival. Let me go check this out. And who knows, it might be that next big sponsor that, that you need, or that Lori needs, or whoever needs, We don't know who's going to be watching these videos. We don't know who's going to be interacting, that, people that we don't know. And it's always that unknown that, I want to be able to bring us all together, those unknowns, to make it like known across the board.
And I love it, man, and it's absolutely true. And I like to tell my sponsors, or not, well, anyone who's organizing anything. I say it to Lori every year. I say it to Shannon of the Big Old Bus, and a lot of people who have big ideas. And the great thing about people with big ideas is they're always evolving. So anytime you go to an event or watch a live stream or whatever the case may be, it's never going to be the same. It's always going to be closer towards their vision. So at the end of I like to go up to them and, much like I thank you for having me on and reaching out. It really is an honor to be your first. I hadn't said that a lot in my life, but I always like to say, and I'll say it to you, I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anytime, man. And just keep going, man. And next year, it's not going to look like this. And 10 years from then, it's not going to look anything like that. So it's always going to be changing, but it's not changing. It's evolving. And
Yes.
it's always a power trip to have full control of the direction that your project evolves.
Absolutely. I like that. So, all right. Adam, it's been an extreme pleasure. Monday nights, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, catch Surviving Rocklahoma as we talk about, or as Adam talks about Rocklahoma in local music. Catch him every Monday, almost every Monday night. He stays pretty consistent. Coming up next, we'll have Lori Brass of Rock the Equinox coming up tonight at 6. Michael Freeman. Let me look at my little list over here. I got Michael Freeman on schedule for Saturday, March 15th at 1 in the afternoon. He's Purple Rain Promotions. I got Chuck Cooley.
Wow.
Oh, wait. Yeah, Chuck Cooley. Saturday,
I've never
March
even
15th.
had that one. Congratulations.
Thank you. And then Brandon had enough young Sunday, March 16th at 8. So, and then Gregory Allen Manuel was just added today, y'all, shortly before the video started. Wednesday, March 19th at 6:30. And then rounding out the week with Jessica Rohde, George Paul New, Saturday, Marshall Rock, Jamie Missler, Wednesday, March 19th. You can find all this on my Facebook events. That this thing is constantly growing. Like I said, yep, Sprout. Like I said, it's this thing's constantly growing. So keep your eyes out. And if you're anything to do, whether it's sponsors or venue or promoter or anybody, just message me. I'll get you on the lineup. I'd love to be able to talk to you. Bring the music community together as a family, the way it should be. So, Adam, thank you again. I hope to see you real soon.
Absolutely. Thanks again. We'll see you all next time. Rock
See you on the flip
on.
side. Rock on.